we now have at least basic ideas of what the Biden infrastructure plan is supposed to look like. The plan, not the final bill, not even the interim bill. We have that. So let's talk now about what actually happens from here, because when progressives criticize the size of the bill, it's not just that it's not big enough, it's when is it not big enough? And I think that matters. Possibly Brett will disagree. Nobody disagrees with me more on the show than Brett. It's one thing to have it chipped down to 2 trillion as a result of what is going to be a soul shredding process in the Senate, but that's not what's happening here. They're starting at $2 trillion. Now, could it expand in the process? It's hypothetical. You could maybe think of that. And even Joe Manchin had previously said numbers that were higher. But all these, like, we gave details on what's in it. Do we think that there's likely to be more at the end? Maybe. Sometimes there's pork that's put in spending bills. That is possible. My fear is that, like with a lot of the other, like with the COVID stimulus bill, is that it's more likely to shrink than expand once we get into this. And if you're already starting off at a number that many people believe is too small, and it's certainly not, it's not FDR 2.0 like he's been so hyped to consider himself apparently behind closed doors. So, Brett, what do you think about that? About what's going to happen once they actually get into the thick of it?
I love that you say with great optimism. Sometimes pork makes its way into the bill. Always pork makes its way into the bill. Frequently, it does end up shrinking the overall size of the bill because it's not just enough to take spending out for massive needed things. In order to whip those votes, you also need to, you need to sweeten the deal by I forget what it was, like classifying refineries in Kentucky with random classifications so they get new tax things for Mitch McConnell back. Anyways, I think that this will be a budgetary bill and probably make its way through the reconciliation process, which narrows which gets rid of a giant hurdle. In the meantime, I think that the Senate will only pick its filibuster battle for HR 1, and depending on the timing of all of this, that will determine whether, I think they're going to do this first and go through reconciliation so they don't have to bother with all that other stuff. I honestly don't know. My guess is, as someone who is native to the Senate, Joe Biden is doing this in the hope that he will win specific votes, specific ways. But then again, that's just my gut, which I'm not trusting in this case because I honestly don't know what their next steps are going to be. Like I'm certain they will go try to get it through the House in some way that is flashier and bigger, and then it'll get to the Senate, who will rewrite it. And I think they're trying their luck with these, like Madison Cawthorn. You voted against it and you're bragging about it. You want to do that again, or you want to get behind laying high-speed internet so the people who've been stuck at home for a long time, you're not going to win this battle anyway. You might as well be able to say you voted for it afterwards.
Well, and it does notably provide for 100% coverage of rural broadband. That's what they're saying, at least.
Right.
So it's possible that in the House they pass something bigger. They've disagreed with Biden's priorities. That is possible. What do you think about Republicans? Because it's generally, I assume going in, any Biden priority or Dem priority, you're going to get 0 Republicans. This being an infrastructure bill, something that they kept at least pretending they wanted to do while Trump was president, and it putting money into a lot of different states, a lot of different congressional districts. But it's still Biden. So do you think it is possible that in the House or the Senate, they will get any Republicans to sign on to this?
Usually, so with these things that typically party identity revolves around. So infrastructure is a Democratic owned concept. The same way like being good on the economy is typically, when you ask voters, traditionally a Republican owned concept. Things like criminal justice reform is a Democratic owned concept. Things like welfare reform are Republican owned concepts, Republican pitched concepts. With quote welfare reform, you needed a Democrat to get that done, to give those concessions. And with in this and with criminal justice reform, you needed a Trump to be like, all right, I'll go along with your thing on my terms. In this situation, they don't need Republicans. So I think Republicans aren't going to really go along with it. It's not one of those things that they can do on their terms. So I think it's all just BS messaging for election purposes. And when they do that, they'll try what?
Hold on, because and this ties back to what you were saying before with Madison Cawthorn. Wouldn't some of them want to say that they had delivered all of this money for bridge renovation in their state or whatever?
Well, we're gonna see how that plays out. It probably, they all look around. It's all about messaging and what they can get away with, right? Usually in these situations, Republicans say, well, the reason I'm against it is this abortion funding thing. That's what I was voting against, to step up for you. Obviously, I was good with the rest, but I wanted to go on record. I'm against abortion stuff. Really, that's not that's what they're doing to placate voters. And behind the scenes, they're going with the Chamber of Commerce and saying, like, what helps you, what hurts you? Because I think they're going to the big donors who are saying this is all going to be accompanied by a tax increase to pay for it. And I don't want that. So they talk out both sides of their mouths, and we'll see how it goes. And we'll see how much Biden explicitly goes for their support. But to his credit, he hasn't really been doing that at all.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.